Welcome back to the Comic Book ASM Artist. Today we're going to be doing another comic book haul, and so we're just going to get right on into it. Now I did get a bunch of other pickups too of like some collectibles and stuff, but there's actually so much of that stuff that I'm going to be doing a separate video, so might be a bonus video this week or maybe one for the next Saturday. We'll have to see. So, first of all, we got Fantastic Four Life Story, the 60s. This is number 1. So, if you're familiar with Spider-Man Life Story, you kind of know the drill. They go through the decades, and you just kind of see the heroes develop and respond to things in real time. So, right out of the gate, we see JFK here. So you'll see little historical things and other nods to things. So, very cool. But this one, I'm surprised that it's not continuing on where Chip Zdarsky's like doing this too. That's what I expected. I didn't realize it was different artists and writers and stuff, but should be interesting nonetheless. And there's a lot of talking here. I do want to show you something I saw. Here we go. So just so you guys know, they do have, real threats in here too, like Galactus and stuff. There's a much cooler image later on, but I didn't want to ruin the impact of that, but there's at least a cool shot of Galactus there. Next we have Alien, number 3. And previously we've seen it, there's been a lot of talking and stuff. This right here gets right into it. We see Xenomorphs right out of the gate, so very excited that things are kind of ramping up a bit more here. Next we have Legends of the Dark Knight, number 1. This is a brand new Batman series. And I think there's going to be another Batman series too besides this one from what I hear. A lot of people are getting aggravated that there's so many Batman titles. But, Batman sells, so DC is obviously trying to continue to salvage losses and stuff like that, so they know Batman is bankable. So if you're a Batman reader, you certainly have plenty of stuff to buy and collect right now. So I'm going to look and see if there's actually multiple stories in here or not. It certainly looks like it's a set piece. If not, we see Jokers in here. So, yeah, no, this is one continuous story, so that's cool. There's no extra filler. This is just a full-on, looks like just really intense sort of story here involving some major enemies. Oh, next we have Batman Superman, number 18. This is a Simone Bianchi cover, I believe. And this is continuing on with the I still don't know their name, but they're like aliens who are archivists. They've got all this film reel here, and there's versions of Batman and Superman from like the very beginning meeting up together for the first time, and stuff is overlapping where there's different things they find to be true from each other's narratives and stuff. So yeah, and everything is framed out with these little film strips. So it's a really interesting premise. Before I forget, we do have a cool signed book too in here, so make sure to stay tuned and check that out. And we have Detective Comics number 1036. Nice Lee Bermejo cover. Let's trace this a little bit here. This is a, you can't help but do that. And Lee's been doing such a great job with these covers. He's continuing to do other work too. They have a new Batman project coming, so this is interesting. This starts with a newspaper looking article. But they have a new project coming called like Batman Worldwide or something, and it's different artists and writers from all over the world, kind of doing like an anthology sort of thing. And Lee is doing some interiors on that, and it has an incredible cover on it too. So I think that just went up in the new pre-orders that are due at the end of next month. So check that out. Yeah, that's what I thought. We certainly have a Clayface story here. And I love Clayface, mainly from Batman Animated. It always takes me out of it when they call him Basil. And here, you know, Basil Karloff and all that, because that's his name in the comics, but he's Matt Hagen in the animated series. I'm just like, I wish they would just make that little nudge and just call him Matt Hagen too and do all that. Although there was a annual they did a while back where they did his origin, and it fell pretty well in line with the animated series. And it was phenomenal. Maybe one day I'll do a reading of it. I keep saying that I need to honestly do more readings though. I need to finish wrapping up the Dark Knight Frank Miller stuff and then do some more stuff. So we'll see what happens. Alright, next we have Action Comics number 1031. Another fantastic cover here. These are just really kind of like set pieces, you know, this is like the old time look here, and I love it. So yeah, this issue is continuing the War World storyline, which I believe this will be resulting in the quote-unquote death of Superman, which I am just kind of, I'm a lot more excited with this art than the previous run. Not to put down the other one, but there's only a couple issues anyway. But so yeah, they've been teasing that Jonathan Kent is going to be taking over as Superman. They're even relaunching the series as Superman, but having it be Jonathan Kent. So we'll get him as Superman for a little while, but I'm glad that the art is on a much more epic scale here. Because that's the thing, even like with like the death of Superman and stuff, like the art was really firing on all cylinders there. The Dan Jurgens stuff was just, incredible. You know, each page with that was like a splash page and just really dynamic and, you know, intense. And, you know, this still isn't the same as Dan Jurgens, but it's at least some really good art, I feel. Next we have Robin, number 2. Oh, I think this is, I don't want to say the wrong name for who the cover is by. But it is a great cover. So, previous issue, issue 1, they had killed Damien. And obviously he is very much alive here. Which, you know, if you're around Talia and all this sort of stuff, it's pretty easy to assume he was probably thrown into the Lazarus pit and resurrected. But I know issue 1 was a lot of fun, and I think this series in general is just going to continue to be really interesting and a lot of fun as well. I love Damien. I love that he's just got such a bad attitude. You know, he's such a cocky little guy. And he's just got so much to him. Like, initially I hated the character, but he has certainly grown on me quite a bit. So, usually if a book has Damien, I'm pretty likely to read it and see what's going on with his narrative. And unfortunately, he certainly feels like he's regressed with this because he's back to that, you know, he's renounced Bruce and everything and is just kind of doing his own thing, you know, retreading the League of Assassins and that sort of stuff. But still. So next we have Catwoman number 31. I'm not sure why this was in my box other than maybe this phenomenal cover here. This is just really beautiful. And inside, of course, the cover is teasing that it is a Catwoman and Poison Ivy story. So regardless, that'll be interesting to read anyway. It's always fun when, you know, members of the Rogues Gallery get together and just kind of do their own thing without the Bat being present. And I think this is a part 2, maybe. It doesn't say that the story's just called Misdirection, but I don't know. And I know the previous one was almost in my box, but I was just so confused as to why it was in there that I put it back on the shelf. It did have another cover by this artist here, but this one is just so much even better here because it's got Poison Ivy with her. I'm just like, okay, well, I'm not going to put this one back. Maybe there was another reason, and the story here certainly seems interesting, you know, at least the interaction there with Poison Ivy and Catwoman, because it's typically she'll interact with Harley Quinn and not so much Catwoman. So, do we want to trace Catwoman on here? Sure, let's do that. Start. Kind of harder to see with the dynamic lighting here, but the hand comes around here. And we'll just bring it down. Okay, well, crap, I forgot my scissors. So we have Fortnite 0 point number 3. So this is the Fortnite crossover comic featuring Batman, obviously. And this part's cool because it's got Snake Eyes, who was recently a skin in Fortnite, and now he's made his appearance in the book too. So, kind of a big deal. Snake Eyes versus Batman. So I have 2 out of the 3 covers. I don't have like the super premium one, but it's fine. So this one's the Jim Lee cover of Batman fighting Snake Eyes, which is pretty cool. And yeah, they're polybagged and all that. I'm not gonna mess with that. But I've shown the art in a few other videos, so you can check those out. They'll just be in previous hauls. It's not going to be the one that I posted before this, but the one before that should have it in there. And there's codes for DLC. And this one comes with a code for Catwoman's pickaxe. There's codes for DLC, and this one has codes for Catwoman's pickaxe, so check those out. And that's kind of more in line with the type of DLC I expected. We got spoiled when the first one, we got that Harley Quinn skin, you know, and then everything after has been like, ooh, the Bat Glider and all this sort of stuff, but it's fine. At least it's something that's still free. Next we have Nightwing number 80. And I didn't think to get it, but I think the regular cover for this is the one that shows like all the different versions of Dick Grayson climbing on the side of a building, like with old school original Robin, and then just kind of the different costume iterations, and then like Batgirl is looking out of the window instead of Batman, like the old 60s show. So I'll see if I can hunt down that cover, but I think that's what the normal cover for this one was. And yeah, so at this point, Nightwing has inherited quite a large sum of money from when Alfred had died. And obviously he has gotten his memory back and stuff, so he's kind of figuring out how to make Bloodhaven a better place with the new resources he has attained. And I just have to say, I'm really loving the art in this arc. It's just really clean, and, you know, obviously I'm sure it's done digitally and stuff like that, but I think it looks really nice. It complements the kind of the feel of Nightwing and stuff, so props to the artist on this one. Yeah, so the artist here is Bruno Redondo, and it's written by Tom Taylor, and Tom has been writing some great stuff recently too, so Nightwing is definitely a recommend for me right now. And we have Truth and Justice, number 4. And the main reason I got it was for the Red Hood story here. So this series has just kind of been doing, it's more or less a collection of one-shots presented in a series. I'm not sure if there's a running theme through all of them or not. This is the first one that I purchased, so. And then I think there's another one coming too later on. But, you know, since this is a character who I follow, that's why I picked up this particular one. And this is certainly more stylized, and you'll typically find, I saw like an image of Nightwing a little bit in here. Yeah, he's got this big old chin. So yeah, definitely a lot more cartoony, squash and stretch like. But yeah, no, this is just one contained story too, so at least it's not multiples is what I'm saying. Yep. And it's not even concluded like in another issue, so that's a one and done. So let me close this one up. Next we have Last Ronin. This is issue number 3. And I'm sure most of you have heard about this series. If you haven't, this is pretty much the ultimate closing TMNT story. Written by Eastman and Laird and Tom Waltz. And layouts here, you've got, looks like Kevin Eastman worked on the layouts, and then They've had help from Isan Isaac Escorza on this one, Ben Bishop, and Kevin Eastman as well. So this is kind of like the way into the future, what if, sort of kind of like the ultimate closing story, and things have certainly been grim. There's one surviving turtle, which they revealed who it is at the end of issue 1, but if you haven't read that, I'm not going to spoil it for you. So it's the story of the last surviving turtle, kind of in the closing year, maybe, of the turtles. So in this one, based on the cover, you can kind of see what this one is about. That's right, I got 2 store folios. Next we have the TMNT Best of Splinter one shot here. Another nice dynamic cover, and the nice thing with this one, that first 2 stories in here, I actually don't own. So here's a list of the books that are in here. TMNT Adventures 45, Tales of TMNT 2, TMNT 5 from IDW, and then the Splinter Micro series. So yeah, the Adventures is the Archie comic one, which was more geared towards kids. And I've never really read much of it, so it's kind of cool to go through here and be able to read this story and kind of see a little bit what it's about. I'm assuming it's a pretty good story if it's, in this best of. With most of the other turtles, a lot of them were just like, hey, this is mostly the IDW stuff, and then maybe one Eastman story thrown in there. So it's interesting that they had this one from the Archie Comics lineup in here. So it must be pretty good. And probably give a lot of insight into the character. I see a lot of the human side of him in here, not so much the rat side. So, and then this is the next one from the Mirage Studio days, taking on a more classic feel for sure. This is Jim Lawson, I believe. And then we have the IDW Turtles here. The opening here is just so good. We just see Splinter in action as a ninja himself. And yeah, IDW's Turtles run, what started it all. Incredible stuff. I'd like to possibly get back into reading that for you all, but I keep saying that. It's so hard to coordinate all this stuff. But definitely the older stuff is easier for me to do because, like I said, I don't want to discourage sales of new material. And there's the micro series there, which is definitely a lot darker in tone. And we have Spawn, number 318. You talk about dark tone here. This is probably the goriest cover I've seen on a Spawn book. And yeah, this is just continuing to set up the Spawn Universe series coming. I think the first one maybe goes on sale next week. I could be wrong, but I know it's coming in June. So lots of big things happening in the world of Spawn. We have a lot of new appearances coming too. So if you're a key issue collector, a lot of new enemies, a lot of new heroes coming about too. So make sure you're following the regular series and the universe, and they might even be doing other series. I think they announced one called the King Spawn. So of course I'm a sucker for all that. I'll be checking them out. Absolutely. What do we have next in here? We have... And I still haven't read my other, is Teen Titans Academy number 3. Red X is what it's all about. And why I'm continuing to follow this series. This is a nice layout. I literally haven't even opened this yet. That's really nice. I like that this book is pretty much like the Teen Titans team, more or less. Which I don't collect it at this time or really much, but you know, like I said, the main thing my kids enjoyed the Teen Titans Go for quite a while, so that's just kind of my main interest in it, and it certainly is way different in tone than this sort of stuff, the books here, but it's just fun to see that team together and to see that character that was just kind of like a random side thing from that show become his own thing. So, yeah. Alright, here is the big moment here. We have signed Man-Bat number 1 by Kevin Nolan, which I have loved his work for so long. I think I was introduced through one of the Batman black and white anthologies. It's just so dynamic and beautiful. And if I'm not mistaken, he may have even created the design look for Man-Bat on the animated series. I could be wrong, but I'm vaguely remembering that trivia bit. I could be wrong though. But yeah, so he only signed 40 of these, and I got number 21. And as I always say, guys, if you have a comic shop, make sure you get the previews. Look for the section with the dynamic forces, the signed stuff. This is the best way you're going to get a lot of these autographs. It's right here, authenticated, so you don't have to worry about having witnesses and slabs and all this sort of stuff. Granted, you're not meeting them in person, but especially if you're in an area where, you know, they don't even have a lot of conventions, or you're in an area where certain artists never come to visit because they don't live close to that area, this is a great alternative. So there it is again. Beautiful signature. Glad I got this book. So as always, let me know what you want to see down below. Like, comment, subscribe, share it out. Let me know, should I be bringing back some readings? Should they be something on here? Should I start doing channel member content, or what do I need to do? Because I certainly want to continue to grow it, and I certainly would like to be monetizing it a bit. I spend quite a lot investing in these books, and quite a few of them, you know, the luster wears off and I resell them and don't make much and things like that. But I certainly want to keep doing this, and I want the channel to keep growing, and I want to give you guys what you want too. So, but let me know down below. And as always, You all have a super slumber. Thanks. Bye.